What if I told you that there was once a pope who was kicked out of the Vatican for being too corrupt, fought his way back in, and then literally sold the papacy to his godfather for a bag of gold so he could get married? This isn't fiction. This is the absolutely insane true story of Benedict IX, the only pope in history who quit, came back, and then sold the most powerful religious position in the world like it was a used car. And by the end of this story, you'll understand how one man's greed and lust for power created the biggest crisis in Catholic Church history and changed Christianity forever. Our story begins in 1032 in Rome, but not the Rome you know today. This is medieval Rome, a city where noble families literally buy and sell religious positions like trading cards. The most powerful family? The Tusculani. And they have a plan. They want to put their 20-year-old son, Theophylactus, on the papal throne. Now, canon law says you have to be at least 30 to be pope, but when you're rich enough to bribe every cardinal in Rome, details like law become more like suggestions. So in 1032, this spoiled, power-hungry 20-year-old becomes Pope Benedict IX. And from day one, it's clear this is going to be a disaster. Think of the most corrupt politician you can imagine. Give him absolute religious authority over all of Europe and remove any possible consequences for his actions. That's Benedict IX. Within months, the rumors start spreading across Europe. The stories coming out of Rome are so scandalous that medieval chroniclers, people who lived in an age where public executions were entertainment, are literally too shocked to write them down. Here's what we know for sure. Benedict IX is hosting orgies in the papal palace. He's selling church positions to the highest bidder. He's having people murdered who oppose him. But here's the kicker. He's also performing the most sacred religious ceremonies in Christianity. Imagine watching someone bless your marriage in the morning, then hearing they spent the previous night in a drunken orgy with prostitutes. The German Holy Roman Emperor, Henry III, is getting reports from Rome that sound like they're describing the Antichrist, not the Pope. One chronicler wrote that Benedict IX committed homicides and adulteries in broad daylight, and that he was a demon from hell in the disguise of a priest. But remember, he's not just any priest. He's the Pope, the supposed successor to St. Peter, the holiest man on earth. And Europe is starting to lose its mind. By 1044, even the notoriously corrupt Roman nobles have had enough. A group of them, led by the Crescentii family, decide to take action. They storm the papal palace, kick Benedict out of Rome, and install their own pope, Sylvester III. Now, you might think this is where our story ends. Benedict is gone. There's a new pope, problem solved, right? Wrong. Because Benedict IX isn't just corrupt. He's also stubborn, vindictive, and backed by one of the most powerful families in Italy. For months, he's in exile, plotting his comeback. And in April 1045, he strikes back. Benedict IX literally fights his way back into Rome with a private army, kicks out Sylvester III, and declares himself pope again. Think about this for a second. Two different men are claiming to be the pope. Both have been crowned. Both claim divine authority. The Catholic Church is having an identity crisis, and all of Europe is watching this train wreck in real time. But Benedict IX isn't done making history yet, because what he does next is so unprecedented, so shocking, that it breaks every rule of Christianity. Here's where our story gets really crazy. Benedict IX, now back on the papal throne, falls in love. Her name is lost to history, but she's apparently beautiful, young, and most importantly, she wants to get married. There's just one tiny problem. Benedict IX is the pope, and popes can't get married. Now, a normal person might think, well, I guess I have to choose between being pope and getting married. But Benedict married. But Benedict IX isn't normal. He thinks, why don't I just sell the papacy? Enter his godfather Giovanni Graziano, a priest who's been watching this whole mess and thinking he could do a better job. In May 1045, Benedict IX 45, Benedict IX approaches Graziano with an offer that sounds like something out of a medieval sitcom. Want to buy the papacy? I'll sell it to you for enough gold to fund my wedding and honeymoon. And Graziano says yes. Let me repeat that. The Pope sold the papacy. The most sacred position in Christianity was literally sold for gold like a piece of property. Graziano becomes Pope Gregory V. Benedict takes his money and disappears to get married. And everyone in Europe is sitting there going, what the hell just happened? But wait, remember Sylvester III? He's still claiming to be the legitimate Pope too. So now there are three men all claiming to be Pope simultaneously. The Catholic Church has completely collapsed into chaos. Finally, Holy Roman Emperor Henry III decides enough. He marches on Rome with an army in 1046, basically saying, I'm going to clean up this mess myself. Henry III does something unprecedented. He fires all three popes. Sylvester III, gone. Gregory VI, deposed. Benedict IX, banned from Rome forever. Henry III then appoints his own pope, Clement II, and everyone thinks the crisis is finally over. But Benedict IX isn't done yet. In 1047, Pope Clement II mysteriously dies, and many historians suspect Benedict IX had him poisoned. And what does Benedict do? He marches back to Rome again and declares himself Pope for the third time. This man refused to stay down. He's like the horror movie villain who keeps coming back no matter how many times you think you've killed him. It takes another year and another military intervention to finally remove Benedict Nat pension, to finally remove Benedict Descartes permanently in 1048. But the damage is done. Benedict IX's reign was only about 12 years total. But those 12 years nearly destroyed the Catholic Church. His corruption was so extreme that it sparked the Gregorian Reform movement, a complete overhaul of how the Church operated. New rules about papal elections, celibacy requirements, and anti-corruption measures all trace back to the chaos Benedictines created. In a weird way, Benedictines' greed and corruption actually made the Catholic Church stronger in the long run. Sometimes you have to break something completely before you can fix it properly. So the next time someone tells you that modern politicians are corrupt, just remember, at least none of them have literally sold their office for wedding money. Benedict IX proved that absolute power doesn't just corrupt, absolutely. Sometimes it makes you so crazy that you auction off the most powerful religious position in the world like it's a garage sale.